etc. So all of you pretty much agreed that women aren't criticized enough in modern day society. So instead of me talking about it, I want to ask. I'll throw it to you guys. What are the top criticisms you think modern women need to hear? We can start here and then work our way back. Or if someone has an idea right now at the top, we can go to you.
Okay, great.
You want to go? Okay.
Yes.
What are the top criticisms you think modern day women need to hear?
To become better women.
Please, and I know I'm about to get so much backlash from this, but to my ladies, please do not make your independence everything. Like, do not make it the center of like what it makes you as a woman. I know that sounds like very ridiculous, but it's just, I'm just saying it as like, don't be like, oh, I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man to cook. I don't need a man to clean. I don't need a man. But then at the end of the day, you still want to go and have a boyfriend in the bed. Like when you say I don't need, you're literally you're speaking what you don't need. And it's like, instead of saying I don't need and just saying, well, right now I wouldn't like that, but if it comes around, that I'll be okay with that. Because if you literally say I don't need it, you're never going to get it.
Okay. Question for you. Do you think that maybe she should have rethought her decision to leave a guy that was highly successful for a job out of state? Because you said don't let your independence be everything.
If that was
okay, keep it 1,000.
Okay.
She won't jump over and beat you up on the table. That's fine.
Not yet.
If that was me, considering the circumstances I had at hand, I probably would have stayed. But everybody, that's their own boat, so she can float. But I would have stayed.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Pennywise. She could float.
Oh my God.
What about you? What do you think is the top criticism you would give modern day women to be better?
Oh gosh, there's so many, honestly. I think that women have become incredibly narcissistic, and I think our Western culture has become incredibly narcissistic as a whole, but particularly women, because there's zero accountability and they're being propped up and everything. I think what I would want women to know is that you want to have all the rights without having any of the responsibility. And you can't have a right without having also taking on the responsibility.
Okay. So can you give us some examples? Because you mentioned a couple things here. You mentioned narcissism, rights without responsibility. Can you give us an example of what you mean by narcissism? Because that's very broad.
Well, I think this is across the board in our society. However, I think it is even more so with women, and it's worship of self, basically, where they're whatever makes them feel good, whatever they want, they're justified in everything. There's excuses and justifications for everything, and it's really detracted from the role of true femininity and the importance that it has, and it's really degrading our society.
Okay, worship of self, and then so you think that's where the narcissism stems from? And then when you say rights without responsibility, what do you mean by that specifically? That girls want rights without responsibility?
Well, they want
something specific.
Well, I mean it in a broad way,
Okay.
but you could go to specifics. I just mean that they want they feel entitled to everything without meriting it. Yeah.
Okay. You finally made sense.
Okay. What about you? What do you think is the top criticisms that modern day women need to have?
I would say doing more for the man. I feel like women want so much from the man, but don't want to give. And what I mean by that, I mean like cooking, or okay, if yes, you want him to buy you all these things, you want so much from him, but are you helping him take his shoes off? Are you helping him decompress? Are you helping him, shower? It's okay to help him shower, like, or are you massaging him? Like just those little things, because the weight of the world is on the men.
Okay.
All
right. So reciprocating. What about you? What do you think? What is a criticism that more modern day women need to hear?
Taking care of their emotions.
Okay. What do you mean by that specifically?
Like Taking care of their emotions.
That's accurate.
I love her. Like when you're going on your period and you're going crazy as fuck, and like your boyfriend is there, he's looking at you crazy. Like you need to calm it down and chill out.
She's on her period.
That's an imbalance of hormones.
What, PMS?
Yeah.
PMS.
So like I feel like as women nowadays we could control it more.
How?
How?
I don't know. Like
I don't know about PMS.
Yeah,
but I
like
think you
literally
mean like
an
in
imbalance.
general.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know about specifically.
Ladies, let her speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. So you're saying control your PMS more.
I
was
mean,
that
like
just an
cramps.
example?
Like, what do you mean, like that, or
I mean, you said
just
it.
like
I'm
your
asking
mood?
you.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just questioning you.
Oh, she's looking at the
Oh.
girls.
You talking to me?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you said for us women to control our emotions when I'm on my period. If I'm
Yeah.
cramping and literally,
Like,
not to
yeah, I'm
get
a
very
react, but like
specifically-
I don't have to go crazy over it. Like, you feel me? Like I don't have to be screaming at my
Can I-
boyfriend about
can
it.
I interject
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
as someone? Okay. There's a lot. Only reason I disagree with that. If you said just in general control emotions, I think a lot of people just do not have their emotions in general. I could we're talking about women, so I could specifically say a lot of women don't have their emotions in general. They don't know how to communicate. Their form of communication is either crying, yelling, getting mad, throwing a tantrum. That happens a lot. But I think specifically during a moment of menstruation where there's a hormone imbalance, I think that I'm not saying that gives you a right to just scream out, latch out, do whatever, but there literally is chemical changes in your body. I don't think specifically, yes, you can say regular emotions don't go crazy if you can like control as much as you can. That's just in general. But I think specifically what you said, I don't agree with, only because like I know certain women that genuinely have like deathly periods. Like my cousin, she literally has to call off 4 days a month for her period.
Mhm.
She's had like 5 surgeries.
Yeah, this
she has
depends on the body and the.
That's what I
woman.
mean. That she has like a homeopathic doctor. Like those people, like those emotions they have when they're in pain, they can't.
So
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tap into that, friend.
Yeah.
Because that's literally like, and I'm just gonna put it plain and simple. That's literally like a woman giving birth and you telling her not to scream.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
I
sense
mean,
to me.
cramps to giving birth is 2 different things.
No, it's not.
Like,
Those are
the
contractions.
That's
That's
many contractions.
that's literally
Degree.
once
Many
again
forms
a
of
that's
contractions.
Like,
literally
it's
a
getting kicked in the
hormonal
balls and then
imbalance.
pregnancy is 2
Now,
different things.
okay,
The whole human come out.
So contractions and cramps are literally not causing the hormonal
I'm
imbalance
saying,
within.
like emotion-wise, you could handle your cramps. Like you could be
No.
like, oh fuck,
Wait,
like
whoa,
damn,
what?
that shit hurts.
Dora.
So
But
you're
then, like-
telling women to stop a
No,
monthly
they could
body
scream
function.
when they're pregnant. Yes, they could scream when they're giving pregnancy. Like, yo, give birth. But like,
Listen, hold on.
That's your body, but and for my body, I'm not gonna stop
Come
my.
on.
Only reason I disagree is
Listen,
that's
I'm not a woman,
You're
right?
not
Like,
supposed
But
to
I can only
stop
imagine
that.
having a period and you tell me to just
Yeah.
control my emotions.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
me, it's like a moving train
Fresh.
saying stop the train, huh?
Yeah, but if you got a
Yeah.
period, man, just stay in her bedroom for 7 months or 7 days or something, man. Like, don't be yelling at people. You know what I'm
What if
saying?
you have a job?
Nigga, just
I have a
Be by
period
yourself.
every month for 12 months.
Only
For
the only
an
reason
X
I'm
amount of
disagreeing is
days,
what
like,
she's saying
it
is
gets
because
boring
there's a
after a
lot
while
of.
having a period.
The only reason I'm disagreeing with what
Hey,
she's saying is
Dora,
because
I
there's
got
a
your
lot
back,
of
Dora.
women.
Thank you.
There's a lot of women that genuinely have really bad medical conditions involving their periods. So to say that, I feel like is a very like.
Let me
and not
ask-
just do that, but there's
okay.
genuinely like a
All right,
very
you
large
know
portion
what?
of people that
Let
have
me
to deal
let me
with
ask this
that.
question because this is actually a very interesting exchange right now. Would it be fair to say that these women that have this debilitating periods that you guys are talking about are a minority of women compared to all women that
No.
experience periods?
No, PCOS is in like over 40% of women nowadays.
what the fuck?
What is PCOS?
Well, that's still not a majority. That's 40%.
But that's just PCOS. That's not including any
Oh,
other.
okay.
That's what I mean. So like a lot of women nowadays, and especially because a lot of women are taking birth control, a lot of
Bruh.
the hormone. Okay, you can say that.
All right.
But we're being like a lot of women are taking hormonal birth control to either
Okay.
regulate their periods or they're starting to be able to unregulate their periods because they're causing hormonal imbalance.
How many of you
in their
ladies
body.
here at the table have terrible periods where you can't control your emotions and you're pretty much need to be by yourself to avoid lashing out at people? Anybody here on the panel?
Not me, but my cousin
No.
personally. Like,
Okay,
I've seen
that's
her.
fantastic. But how many of you here at the table have the ability? One of you.
The
Okay.
first 2 days, I need to be by myself.
Before I
Give me my
started,
peace.
before I
So
started
you have
meditation,
no
me.
control over your ability to reel in what you're going to say, whatever. You're literally being controlled by someone else.
I'm not
Is
saying
that bad?
not controlled by someone else, but controlled to the point where because the pain that I'm experiencing is so bad internally, unfortunately I could let my anger out on the wrong person.
Right.
So with that, I want to stay alone. I would just rather be by myself.
Every
Okay.
woman is different.
So it's going to be
Exactly.
different. So it's going to be difficult for you to control what you may say and you may lash out. So you prefer to stay. Would you say that a majority of women experience that though?
No.
Like that level of period where it's like you can't even be around people?
It's a growing
My-
number.
Once again, My experience is different, and my household and what I've experienced, it's been that way.
But I'm asking you to step outside of your own shoes, and I'm asking you, do you think a majority of women experience that level of period where it quite literally debilitates them from interacting with other people?
The only reason
Please
I
let her answer.
Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna go with 50-50.
You think 50% of women have periods to that point?
50-50, yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. I would agree.
50-50, literally.
I feel like as you grow older,
Interesting.
I mean,
Because well, I'm gonna back it up because what I've experienced. So in high school, right, we've been around multiple, like pretty much 1,000 women, 1,000 males. High school, I've been around multiple women, or I can say at least at the same time, we've all been experiencing a point of cramp or hormonal changes where it's like we're gonna take a step back and say, I can't do this today. So I've experienced that
here's
at
the thing. I'm gonna have to
multiple
respectfully
times.
push back on you guys a bit because I mean, if that were the case, that would pretty much be the argument that 50% of women can't operate at all for a couple of days of the month because their period is that bad. They can't go to work, can't be around people, etc. I don't think that it's as bad as you guys are saying it is. Yes, it might suck, might be painful, but I think women have more control of it than you guys are trying to say here. Because otherwise, you're basically saying 50% of women have zero self-control when they're on their period, which I think is a very that's crazy to say that.
Self-control is one thing. Being in pain is another.
But how you react to pain is another thing. I mean, you can make the argument when you go to the gym, you're exercising some level of pain tolerance because you're continuing to exercise.
Well, okay, so the gym, you can't really.
Yeah, but when you get your period, you could choose how you react to said period.
But I can't choose the pain tolerance
No,
level
you
that I
can't
have.
choose it's like
I can't choose my own. I
sexism.
can't. But if I'm not taking medication, I can't choose my natural level of pain tolerance.
Now I'm gonna
Here's
be
the thing:
honest.
if you're experiencing a period every single month,
it's not the same every month.
Every year of your life, it would be fair to say that you can actually, train your ability to tolerate
every
pain.
period is different. This
Every
month I can
single
be
period
dying,
is
and next month I
different.
can have a perfect period that I don't even feel.
Okay, so that in itself
Like,
proves that it's
everyone's
not as
different.
consistently as debilitating as you're arguing.
For me, most women, I know women that every single month from the time they were 16 to 30 have had terrible debilitating periods.
So would it be fair to say that if it's a terrible period that they're experiencing all their life, that they should be able to exercise some level of control if it's happening every month? They're being able to train themselves to react correctly. Just to me, it sounds very ludicrous to say 50% of women have cramps and pain in their periods to the point where they can't operate. And then I'm like, well, that can't be true because women are in the workforce, women are in positions of power, women are attending college. Women a lot of the times are in positions where they're competing with men. So I would argue that there's no way it could be 50% because then that would effectively mean half of women are useless when they're in their period.
Can I
which
say
that's just not the case.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, can I interject? I think as someone who has had chronic health issues, you cope with it because you have to. And and so that's just like anything where if it's that severe, you can cope with it to a certain degree. Your life, you manage it. However, I think this also speaks to a larger and more important issue of women not controlling their emotions and not expecting any consequences of their actions. And for so long we've enjoyed the privilege, which I believe like women are the gentler sex and they should be more men and women aren't the same. They shouldn't be regarded the same. So let me just preface it with that. However, women are so used to having that privilege that they just feel like they can do anything and they can go and run their mouth or something, or they can, and they don't have to worry about the same thing that a man would worry about if he was running his mouth. Does that make sense?
No, because I want to know how it pertains to like women in their periods.
I agree with that point. I just don't agree with the period
say, like,
point.
for me,
I agree with
I
that
control
point.
like I know how I know how my cycles are each month, right? So my body gives me warning signs ahead of time. So not everyone takes medication, but I take ibuprofens because I'm too busy for my day to be, stopped or, I've had times where I've gone to the grocery store and I can't walk and it is unbearable. And, I would have to cut my day short, because it's painful, but I take ibuprofen to avoid my day being fucked up because I have menstrual cramps.
Okay.
And the reason why I even say that, ladies, you guys don't know, I was setting up a trap card the whole time. Basically,
you triggered my trap card.
I mean, I think she came up with a very valid critique that modern day women need to do, which is controlling their emotions, even in the face of being, in a period that might be painful. And then in typical female fashion, a bunch of you guys went ahead and lashed at her and said, why should women have to control their emotions more when they're on their PMS? It's painful. They can't control themselves. But the reality is that, half of women, have cramps to the point that they can't operate properly. I think that's a little high, because if that were the truth, then that'd be like an epidemic of women not being able to control themselves, and they wouldn't be in a position of power. They wouldn't have all the same equal rights. And I think women are capable of just as men are. They're not optimal. That's my argument. Women are optimal in a lot of same positions that men are. But to say that 50% of women experience cramps to the point where they can't control themselves is kind of crazy. I don't think we'd be a functioning society the way we were if women were raging lunatics when they had periods and they weren't able to control it.
Okay.
So I think she has a valid point.
Because what she specifically said was, I think women need to not be upset when they're on their periods or something of that effect. Excuse me if I'm
she said effectively,
like
when you're on your period,
emotions.
that should not dictate your behaviors to the point where you're acting crazy.
The reason why I disagreed with that, and then like you said you take ibuprofen. I know people who go to the hospital during their periods. Ibuprofen doesn't work for them. Hold on. I'm talking about people that literally are having surgeries every 6 months.
Well, it's a
minority.
That's a slimmer chance.
But hold on.
That's a slimmer chance.
But like you said, your body gives you cues. I know people who can't do that. So to say that those people are not able to just be
But we're not
upset and in their
talking about
he was saying 50-50. So
50-50,
Yeah,
but
so
those
50% of people going to the hospital.
But the amount of but I'm not saying 50% of women go to the hospital. I'm saying there is a large amount of women that go to the hospital. The other parts may not go to the hospital.
No,
but they're having interventions with medication. They're having interventions with doctors.
Let her finish her point real fast.
She's saying generally.
What are you saying?
She's saying generally, most women, if they can control it, it'd be better.
Yeah, they can control during their PMS, but to say that they can have any emotional outbursts when you're literally that's just weird to me. Like,
I mean, I'd love.
And then I'm not just anyone can have an emotional outburst. If you're upset, if you're in pain, like ask doctors and nurses. A lot of them people that they deal with in hospitals are yelling and screaming at them 24/7, not because they're mean people, not because they're assholes, because they're in pain.
Okay,
Yes.
I just want to say this real fast. I want to break down a third wall. I don't know if you guys caught it, but this exchange right here proves my point why so many women do not choose to self-improve and or can't take criticisms. If you guys see, she came with a criticism and a bunch of girls came to the women's defense of what she's criticizing, saying, well, that's not true. There's a minority that experiences blah, 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 blah. And I would argue this is why women perpetually don't self-improve, because for every criticism that is said, there's someone to come in to substantiate poor behavior. For example, if a woman's fat, someone's going to come to her side and say, love your curves, girl. You're fine the way that you are. Fuck these assholes. We're quite literally experiencing that right here, right now. A couple women on the panel came to the defense of a minority of females that can't control their emotions and make an argument for a minority when the majority clearly can't control their emotions. That's my point, and that was just proven literally right here in 4K.
Perfect.
There you go.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I'll turn it to y'all. Agree, disagree?
Only reason I disagree is
Sure,
because
go
it's
ahead.
period. Can I just ask the men in like the room, how many of your
You're
female...
a natural contrarian. I can
No,
see it.
I can. Okay, it's fine. I know. I want to be a lawyer. Can I ask how many men in the room genuinely have regular conversations about their female friends about periods?
Say that again.
How many men in the room have like regular conversations? I know it's not a thing men experience, but I know there are some men that talk to their female friends about it, just about periods.
Yeah.
So-
Hey, your period this month. How many of you are genuinely having it with your female friend? I'm not having it with a lot of my male friends. I'm just asking.
Can I go first?
So if I'm,
Go ahead,
Yes.
Chris.
oh
What-
yeah,
yes.
go Chris.
Oh, so you're on a period though.
I'm sorry.
What's
Say
that
that
mouth
again.
do though?
Chris. Okay, so I haven't asked friends about periods, but because let's say I'm dating a chick, right?
Mhm.
For example, I don't stop at red lights, but I'll ask about it because once again,
That's a problem.
I
in
want
itself. That's another
I'm not getting into that.
I want to know
Like,
how it works. However, I'll say this:
Mhm.
generally speaking, most women
Mhm.
that I've talked to or seen
Mhm.
have periods that are somewhat good on some months, bad on some months. So it's up to that individual to handle that, how they handle it. I'm just saying, your example of the minority that have these major issues, that does happen, but it's a small minority. So the whole discussion of can women control themselves at periods, most of them probably can. So, I mean, it's not.
And that's why I disagree with her point. Most of them can. So to say that women can't have any, she said they don't have control on their periods, which I don't.
No, she said they need to control it.
As they grow older,
But you're
they
saying that
control
most
it.
women don't have that problem. So how are they not
Now, I will
controlling
be honest
themselves on their
that I
periods?
will be honest to know, like personally, that some people do get moody. You know, like my sister, she gets moody. My sister's not like me.
That's
you
a
know,
hormone imbalance.
when we're
Yeah, it's
on-
part
when
of
we're
it.
on
Right,
our-
but should she,
you know,
despite having that hormone imbalance,
It's
should
not
she
an
work on it?
excuse.
She doesn't
it's just
lash out.
No,
she's
ma'am.
not,
It's
she
just the
doesn't lash
reality
out,
of what
but
it is.
Ladies,
Is it
bottom
right?
line,
No.
ladies, we got to
different.
stay on track here because you guys are doing a phenomenal job of moving the goalpost. The point is, she simply said women need to control themselves better when they're on their period and PMSing. So even like they shouldn't be wilding out. Their boyfriend was like, "Yo, what the fuck is your problem?" When you're acting crazy, it shouldn't be a drastic change in their behavior versus when they're on their period versus off. That's what
Right.
she's basically saying. Then you guys went ahead and said, well, not necessarily, because a lot of girls have debilitating periods to the point where it really changes their hormones and they can't control their emotions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I argued that can't be true, because if that was the case, then you're basically arguing that 50% of women can't control themselves for almost a week during the month, which I think is disingenuous and kind of insults the intellect and ability and capability of women. Now, with that said, I still think that men are, women are capable just like men are, just that men are more optimal in certain things that tend to deal with infrastructure. Not saying that men are better than women, it's just that we're better at certain things. But to say that women can't control their emotions when they're on their period, and a majority of them can't, or half of them can't, I think that's kind of crazy and ludicrous, because society wouldn't be where we are now if half the humanity couldn't control themselves for a week out of a month.
So does that make her
Could you
point
imagine?
mute?
No,
you
it
just
makes-
said they can control themselves.
That's
So
what she's
doesn't
saying.
that make, but I'm saying, doesn't that make her point? Your example, doesn't that make her point mute?
No, it
No.
validifies her point, because she's saying women need to control themselves.
But you just said if 50% of them don't deal with that little
That's the argument that you
portion.
made.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So you said that that's a small portion. So most of them are able to control themselves.
Which is why her point is valid.
I feel
Yeah.
like
But
as
you
you
just
go
said
older,
women need to
you-
control themselves during their period.
Yes.
And I argued against it. I said I don't feel like it's right
Yeah,
at
you
all.
two argued
Yeah,
against
I
her
know.
point.
Most of us did.
Yeah. And I'm saying that right there, you guys arguing against her point,
And
which
that's
is
how we got to
legit
the
critique,
50-50.
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say when I say women don't hold each other accountable a lot of the times, and this is why women aren't criticized, because she came with a valid critique, but it wasn't until the men spoke up and said, no, she's actually right. Y'all were all on her neck for saying that.
I guarantee you, if your boss is in the room and you're on your period, you're going to control it. Because if you
Facts.
don't, you're going to get fired. So ultimately speaking, you can control it if you want to.
Facts.
But when your boyfriend, this nigga, hell no, nigga, once again,
you don't pay me.
What's the consequence? Oh, he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, we got to peel a layer back. Why do women behave the way that they do a lot of the times? Well, I asked you guys earlier, when you
Yeah, that's
did you take the criticism seriously?
That's not right.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Did you take the criticism seriously? Would the guy have left you if you had not done it? If you had continued that behavior? Most of you said he ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
Hence why the behavior is able to continue, because there's no real serious consequence to you continue the behavior. The only person at the table that really stopped their behavior was her, because there was a real consequence of the guy leaving her. For the rest of you guys, I'm not changing my hair color. I'm going to keep continuing to change my hair color. I'm going to continue nagging. I'm moving across the state. I'm somewhat choosing to maybe not bother my guy. Like a lot of you guys are not changing your behavior because there's no negative consequence for changing the behavior.
I said my behavior
not
was
changing.
communicating, and I changed that behavior.
Nigga. You left.
Okay.
So can I communicate with someone who I'm no longer in the same area with?
No.
That's what I mean. And continue.
The point is that
conversations.
women don't have an incentive to take criticism and improve, because you're going to continue to get what you're getting regardless of how you behave, is my point, is my argument. And then she kind of proved that just now, because a lot of y'all jumped on her neck when she said women need to self-improve on that. So I and this is what this show just proves itself even more. I think women give each other terrible advice in general. I think women self-perpetuate each other. They perpetuate each other staying single, because you guys tell each other things like, there's another guy out there, you're special, you can do better. No, fuck him. He's probably out here cheating anyway. Like, I think girls give very destructive advice to each other.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
Because I think that's really important what you mentioned. It goes back to the whole idea of infantilizing everything these days, and that whole idea of,
I think what you meant to say is infantilizing
thank
females.
you,
is what you meant to say.
Yes, but also females doing that to other females. It's me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop it right there.
That
That is what he just. What I want to bring up to the point
is that how I sound?
Yeah. Of course. Facts.
Okay. Might have found my match.
You were going to say something?
I was gonna say I disagree with your point, because how
Which part do you disagree with?
I disagree with the part how you say women encourage women and tell them how like there's another woman, there's another man out there, you got this, whatever, all that. I feel as though guys do the same thing when it comes to females, because y'all say, oh well, fuck that bitch, there's another bitch out there. Oh well, you got 10 hoes on this side, why do you need her? Or you can do this, you can pick up a next bitch within the next hour. Like I feel like that's a double standard.
Well, speaking and actions are two different things. Who's initiating most of the breakups?
Can I ask a
Hold
question?
on. Let me. Who's initiating most of? You're saying that men tell each other the same thing, but realistically speaking, who's enacting on the advice more, men or women? Who's initiating the breakups?
I mean,
There you
every
go.
situation
There's
is
your
different.
answer.
No,
Every
it's
situation
not. I
is
feel like
different.
There's your answer.
Every situation is different. So I mean,
Yeah, but in
I
general,
can't even answer that because I don't know. We don't know who's going through what.
Doesn't that speak to
Like,
accountability? Whoever's initiating the breakup.
Even on the panel.
look,
Yeah.
No,
So,
I
like,
see it right here.
personally, I just feel like this because the question was asked towards me. I feel like
Merch.
as
Yeah.
I mean, because I know people who have left. You know, I know guys who've left their
Who?
chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but is that a
So-
majority or a minority?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay,
So
here,
asking my
I
question-
do. The answer is
Well-
it's a minority. A majority of the women are the ones that initiate the breakups. I mean, let's use this panel. The women that have been in relationships that were married, who initiated the divorces on this own panel? You guys did, correct?
Yes, and
Everybody.
that,
That
because
proves
of,
my point.
right.
And now, how many? And then let's have fun with this. How many of you guys have been broken up with a guy before? Raise your hands if you've ever been broken up with by a guy.
Like he broke up with you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
How many?
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, so 2 of you have never been broken up by a guy. Fantastic. Now, how many of you?
You said have, right?
Yeah, a guy broke up with you.
Yes,
Okay,
I have.
cool. Now, let's go ahead and compound that. How many times have you been broken up more by a guy, or have you broken up with men more?
It's
Ah.
even.
Gotcha.
There's probably a crazy
It's
ratio,
even.
isn't there? You probably initiated way more of the breakups than guys have broken up with you. Correct?
Mine is
No,
even.
mine is
No.
mine is equal.
Mine's I just
Wait, hold on. So you're
Wait,
telling me who said it's even?
Mine is
Raise a hand. Raise a hand. Who else?
mine's is no.
Probably.
2?
Mine's is
Okay,
literally
yeah,
no.
yeah.
So you've been broken up with as many times as you broke up with guys?
I've been broken up with more than I've broken up with guys.
Well, that's crazy. That's a
That's
crazy
kinda-
exception to the rule. Because the majority is most girls, if ever been broken up by a guy, and they initiate most of the breakups for most females.
I mean, she was
So-
I mean,
fire.
that's them. Like, I don't say it's not a crazy thing, but that's just not happened to me. So
That's fine. But your personal experience doesn't necessarily reflect reality all the time. That's a very big minority of the 2,000 girls we've interviewed. Very few girls have been broken up with
I
more
think
than they've broken
you're
up
the
with men.
first that I've
You're
ever
the first
seen.
actually that I've ever seen.
It's 2,000 girls plus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
You must,
always.
be, you must be hella masculine. Goddamn.
Yeah, bro,
I think it was the line. It was
Yeah.
probably the line. It was the
Maybe,
line.
but again,
Lying,
just because
masculine.
just because it's you
They've
doesn't mean
changed.
that's not reflective of women in general. The argument I'm making here, going ahead again, ladies, you keep getting sidetracked. The whole conversation started with women give each other terrible advice, and the reason why women give each other terrible advice is because they feel as though they can do better and replace another guy, and they typically go with what their girlfriends say. And they
That's not
initiate the
true.
breakup because women overwhelmingly initiate breakups.
That is true.
Well,
That's not true.
What's not true? What part is not true?
Shit, you said something in the beginning.
See, you're
They get-
disagreeing with something you don't even understand.
No, that's not. I didn't say I didn't understand.
They get
but
dog
you
shit
said
advice.
you said multiple things at once. The first thing you said was what?
You didn't agree.
Hold on, stop the fucking show.
What was the first
Hold
thing?
on.
What was
Holy
the? Oh my god!
shit.
You asked me a question.
Holy fucking shit. This proves my point. That I can't believe this. For you to be able to articulate an argument with someone, you must be able to not just hear what they're saying, you must understand what they're saying and be able to find weak points and go ahead and refute what they're saying. That means that you have to have a deep level. You're asking me to state what I just stated again, which you said you disagree with. That proves my point that women don't disagree with ideas. They disagree with how they feel once you state an idea. We're seeing a quintessential example of that right now. This podcast, this episode, has been a masterclass on female nature.
Your first statement, the first part of your statement, is the part that I didn't agree with.
Which
then
was?
you kept
Which
you
was?
kept going, and that's why I asked you to repeat what you just said.
You cannot articulate an argument against something if you don't even remember what it was. That's my point.
You want us to tell
Well,
Incredible.
I'm just asking to just repeat so I can answer his question. That's it.
That's the problem. You're
That's
not
the
even
problem.
you're not even going to try to refute what I said. You don't like what it was? How can you disagree with
No,
something you don't
you're-
remember? Stupid. Am I crazy? Am I crazy?
I agree with what Myron's saying because I really just heard this from a male earlier today. I agree with the
Well,
Okay.
That's why I laughed.
I mean, it's just the topic. The topic he was reiterating the topic
That's
essentially,
that.
and so
We under.
I'm so
so
sorry.
he was
Michelle, to cut
generalizing
y'all- uh-oh.
what she said about how women, about how basically how women give each other bad advice. And so what I'm saying is I don't agree
Hold
that
on.
women give
Hold
each
on.
other bad advice because women
There you
have
go. That's it.
women have now I'm remembering because she kind of
So he said
I
in a
was-
nutshell, it's because women follow their friends' advice, and you said, "Oh
I
hell
don't
no."
okay, so I disagree.
Okay.
Because I don't have a group of girlfriends that I can go run and tell my business to. And in all actuality, I feel like it's a bad thing to tell everyone your business that's going on within your relationship, because you might have that single friend and she's telling you, you know, she might be envious of your relationship, and then you're like, yeah, girl, go ahead, you know. So me personally, I don't disclose my business with others. So I was disagreeing that women give bad advice because some women don't invite that advice.
So can we agree that you are not most women? We also agree that most women nowadays tell their friends everything. Snapchat, group chats.
Mhm.
So ideally, you're saying the right things because you won't do it. But let's be real here. Most girls talk about their shit to their friends all the time. He's this and that. He's not being loyal. Oh, you know what? Leave him, girl. So I get what you're saying, but most women, generally speaking, are going to talk to everybody.
Oh no,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I-
I would say it could be you have some women who do that, and then you have another half who, let's say, I mean, if we talk about, for example, a married woman to another married woman, we know how if we're traditionally speaking, we're gonna say, hey, work it out. Our advice to her is gonna be work it out, talk, figure out, you know. So certain advices can be different. It's not all break up with him, he ain't shit. It's not all of that.
But can you admit that most women will take their friend's advice over their man's advice? Be honest. They don't understand
Yes,
their man.
I agree.
They know what's happening. So your
Right.
point is mute.
No, that's not what I was saying. I was saying that some people will give bad advice. He was saying he thinks women give each other bad advice, and I was saying I don't agree. I feel like there's women out there that give great advice to help relationships as well as people who give bad advice to each other.
That might be true, but it's a smaller number. And his argument
You were
was
talking about
he was saying
generalities,
most
right?
women follow their friend's advice. That was the whole argument.
So, I feel
He said
like
bad advice.
Merch.
So once again, yeah, merch. And what I'm about to say goes with your merch. So have fun. Basically how Myron said how women like follow other women's advice, that's all based off of a feeling within the moment. And I know I'm not saying know it, but I can say that I understand it now, considering that I just heard someone tell me today that okay, because of how you felt within that moment determined what your actions were gonna be, and that's how it made it be in the long run.
Mm.
And he was right. Like how I felt within that moment determined my actions.
And then
So
it's
notice,
basi-
right?
and-
You made a very good point. When women talk to each other,
Mhm.
what's happening is something happened prior that day or maybe a week before, and they have that emotion in them. So when they talk to you, they're like, "Oh, girl, I feel like this, and that because my man's doing this." Girl, you're right, girl. So the hyped up
Right.
emotions. So you know what? Damn, she might actually be right because we're feeling the both. It's kind of like the same emotions together,
Mhm.
same energy.
Mhm.
So that, what does that translate into? It means now, damn, she might be right. Fuck my man. So even though she might be thinking logically before, when she meets you, it's like same energy, same type of emotion. You know what? You might be right. So it's up for debate, but I think most women will follow their friends' advice. if they're in that
Real
environment.
quick, guys, come on over to YouTube. We're gonna kill the Twitch and Twitter stream and Facebook. So come on over to YouTube right now.
Cool.
We got 15,000 plus y'all watching live across Rumble and YouTube. So come on over, guys.
All
Around
right.
16K. All right. Do you have anything else that you want to say to that?
I just have one small sentence.
Yeah, I was-
You're good
comment.
before I go to her.
Yeah, I can just close what I was gonna say, but
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that you were just making like a valid point how yes, the whole emotions can play a factor, yes, and I feel like it's both. Like you have those good emotions and you have those bad emotions, and it also at the end of the day it's the choice of the person receiving
Right.
what you do with that advice. So like, are you gonna sabotage? Are you gonna use that advice to sabotage what you have, or are you going to use it to ponder on it and be like, nah, like you know, you have to also look at the person's situation who's giving you the advice. You know what I'm saying? Like what is their current situation before you just take a consideration and apply it to your situation. So,
but if I'm running off emotions,
Right.
I'm not gonna think about, oh, who was that person with? Are they with the man?
Right.
I'm off emotions. I'm gonna do
Right.
That's a
the first,
logical thought.
the first
Right.
emotion I get is to act on it.
Right.
So
You're thinking in emotions.
think
Because
about
I'm
it.
calling my friend. I'm calling my girlfriend
off
for
emotion.
off emotions.
Not
off of,
logic. I don't
need
need
to
logic.
vent,
I need emotion.
I need this. Off of my friend's instinct, because I'm venting to my girlfriend. My girlfriend's going to tell me instantly either something that can be good for myself emotionally or bad for myself emotionally. But off of her instinct and emotion herself, that's what she chose to tell me. Now, once again, off of my instinct and emotion, once again, that is what I choose to do. But
Right.
it all follows all from emotions.
Right.
Period.
But then, emotion and then choice at the end.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. We can move
And
on.
just sorry, my last point, just to end that combo, just to bring up to your point. I think most people my therapist. I agree with my therapist's point, which is most people are not qualified to give advice, whether male, female.
Wait, hold on. You got a therapist?
Yes, I have a therapist. I think everyone should have a therapist.
No, you should have a therapist.
You said you should or shouldn't?
No, you should.
I should. Oh,
Yeah.
I think everyone should have a therapist.
No, you should.
Okay, that's great. That's why I have one.
Yeah. facts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to the topic at hand from before, the question was, what are the top criticisms that you would give modern day women in today's society?
I believe it was your
She
turn.
said controlling PMS before we went down that rabbit hole. Go ahead. What do you think?
Entering relationships for the wrong reasons.
Okay. So, Jess?
There's so many examples. Entering relationships for financial reasons, but not actually being the person you want anything to do with, I think is a big one.
Ooh.
Yeah, we want people to be able to take care of us. And let's say you do want that traditional dynamic, but at the same time, do you just want a man who has money, or do you want a man who has money and also like
Personality.
not only that, but like, let's say you have faith. If you're a Christian person, why are you going after non-Christian people and then expecting them to follow into your beliefs? If you're a Christian woman and I want to become a housewife and I want to have 3 kids with my husband and be part of a church and be part of a clergy and do all these things, don't be looking for men who are clubbing in the streets.
rappers and stuff.
Yeah, and then if you're
okay.
if same thing for men. If you're a man and you're a godly man and you're going to church, I'm not Christian personally. I'm just saying because I know a lot of people say these specific things. If you're a godly man and you're looking for women who are of a certain faith, who believe a certain thing, who have a certain morality, look for that specific thing. And I think people, especially women nowadays, because we are looking for these key things that we're supposed to find, we kind of skip all the other things that were in the beginning. So like not only is he able to provide for you, but what type of person is he? Like, is he slapping you around while giving you a $20 check? Is he slapping you around with the bill money, or is he like a decent dude? No one's saying he has to be like an angel and a god and Jesus himself, but like, is he a decent person? Like, how does he treat his friends? How does he treat the people around him? Things like
I'm
that.
trying to make sense of what you said, because you mentioned a couple things here. Is what you're trying to say? One critique is entering relationships for financial reasons, but not wanting the man inherently. And then the second one is getting a man that doesn't align with certain values.
Yeah,
that you
getting
adopt.
a person, anyone. Yeah.
Okay, so you use the example of religion. So if you're a religious woman, make sure you get with a religious man.
Or someone who follows those moral values that your religion follows.
Okay, so it seems to me basically aligning yourself with a man that shares your values. Don't just get with them
because they have money.
Of financial reasons or something.
That doesn't make sense.
Money.
Okay.
Only because they provide for you, but where does that animosity start to build up when that person's providing, but you guys don't have the same moral compass?
Okay, so that's your critique of modern day women. Don't get in relationships because
not just money, but anything that you don't that is going to become a problem.
Okay, what about you? What's your, if you can give one critique or maybe 2 critiques for modern day women, what would it be?
I would say like wanting a traditional man, but like not being like the traditional woman yourself.
Okay.
Like you want a man that provides, but like, I don't know, like you're not like taking care of the home and, doing your duties. I feel like a lot of women like want like a man that's like chivalrous and provides and all of this stuff, but they're not doing what they need to do on their end to get that man.
Okay. Now,